Hey there, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, amazing agents. It's Coach Bill Pipes coming at you. As always, alive, excited, and full of energy. Welcome back to another great Agent Academy Accelerator interview. We're so pumped that you guys are back to watch and to get to know and to learn from really one of the most badass dudes in the industry right now is my good friend, our great coach, Brian Danney. Man, Brian, say hello to everyone that's accelerating with us right now.
How you guys all doing? Happy to be here.
Yeah. So Brian, I mean, guys, Brian, when I say most badass, here's a dude, $100 million in production, 97 transactions, took how many vacations? 14?
I was on 14 vacations. Yeah. And there was a month where I spent maybe 3 days, the month of July in San Diego.
Wow.
1 month, 3 days.
Yeah, yeah. Watch the life that everyone wants, which is when you're in, work hard, and when you're out, go have and enjoy life. The purpose of business is to fund a great life, and the purpose of life is to experience, right? So congratulations, brother, on your success and everything that's taken place.
I appreciate that. I'm a big believer. It's who you surround yourself with and figuring how to pull. And it's been a blessing to go through this journey in the last 10 years or so. So it's been a lot of fun and happy to share and contribute.
Oh, it's going to be rad, dude. So let's jump into, I always love to find like backstory, right? Okay. And like how people migrated into real estate in the first place. Let's take like 1 or 2 minutes and just give us the Reader's Digest condensed version, like how you got here.
Yeah, it's been a funny journey. So I graduated from Syracuse University in upstate New York. I was an LA kid growing up. I found my way back to Los Angeles for a while. I got into PR. I loved it. I was working with PlayStation. Yes, it sounded so cool. I was working with PlayStation, all the title athletes on all their cover games, and then realized it's not something I wanted to do. Just didn't have the passion behind it, but I love music. So then I got into music and I took my PlayStation contacts. I got this band that I produced a tour with all over Southern California and the Western region through a video game called Guitar Hero. So I did that, realized, holy shit, this is amazing, but I couldn't make a dime. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I stumbled upon commercial real estate when I went to go visit my folks who were moving back from East Coast to the Palm Springs area. And I remember just meeting somebody in front of a retail center. My father was a dentist. He was looking to rent a space out and be like, all right, real estate. And I thought at the time that being a commercial agent was like the professional thing to do. You don't have to work 7 days a week and you get your weekends off. So I spent some time, I dabbled into that, got my license, and I went through some growing pains. I worked a lot on the leasing side of it, and also aligned myself with a mentor. At the time I thought was a good fit, was not. I ended up finding out that I got asked to excuse myself out of a couple of deals, lost some commissions, and then
in commercial, like 4 deals a year, 5 deals a year,
long-term leases. Those are
one deal that you're not brought into is like, could be 20% of your income for the year, right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And the way it worked was your money doesn't go to escrow, right? Because it's all leasing. So you're paid up front and then they go through a tenant improvement period and then you're paid at the end and all that though. But there was a lot of pain there because I worked very hard and I didn't have an opportunity to actually provide, right? And it was just my wife and I at the time. Fast forward 6 months, I parted ways with that mentor. It was a bad fit. And I found a shopping center that was willing to sell. Better yet, I found the buyer, got the whole thing dialed in, and started making some movement. And I absolutely was able to, a big contingent piece of that whole thing was leasing up about 20 units. Well, I got the whole thing done. And then I found out my company I was working for, a commercial company, went BK.
Oh my God.
And I lost all of my commissions, all of them, like 6 figures in bankruptcy court. And I just remember I was in my garage with my wife, Lauren, and we're sitting there and I'm selling all my shit just to pay the bills, like my electronics, my everything. Like everything was some sort of value tagging to sell because I had to pay my bills. And I looked at her and I remember just this feeling like, what the hell did I do? And I was debating what direction I want to go. I wanted, maybe real estate wasn't my fit. And I had an opportunity to work for the city of San Diego here at the assets department. And I was at a farmer's market when I was in the midst of making my decision. And I see this goofy character on a bicycle with like bread in a basket and lettuce at a farmer's market. And I'm like, is that Dan? And because we were friends from college and we lost touch, and I'm yelling at him and he's like, are you still doing commercial? And then we kind of caught up and he's like, well, if you can do that, you can do residential. Let's, I'm starting the team. Let's do this whole thing. And fast forward 10 years, here we are. It's been a fun journey. So that's how it all kind of
So
began.
you and Dan, you are like #1 agent on DV's team, on Dan Beer's team, right? So you guys went to college together. You guys knew each other from Syracuse. Little synchro destiny takes place. You're in the midst of making this decision. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I'm selling all my shit in my garage right now, right? And then all of a sudden you go, okay, cool. And you stumble across Dan. So, and he's just in that trajectory of hockey sticking and being able to build a team. So so you go over there. How quickly did you experience success on the residential side?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was myself, Dan, and like one other. And I was just given a database. All we had at the time, this is going back like near 9-10 years, all we had was our website, San Diego Home Finder. So all I would be in was the online leads. I didn't have anything else. And I would just hammer. And it took about 2 months to get some traction. And then I landed my first deal, which was about 2.6 million, which was my first deal with the team. Very fortunate on the coast. And that's when I saw the traction. I had structure. And I just leaned into what he was telling me to do because there was massive trust there. Massive trust.
You surrendered, right? You surrendered to what it was that Dan said do, which I think is one of the big pieces of people always ask, Brian, you and I both coach, what makes a great coaching client, and, or someone that's on a team. You surrender to the process and the system, right?
100%. I tried it my own way, right? And it nearly bankrupted me. And Bill, the one thing I want to mention is we all have these like stories, and it's going to make sense in a moment, but we all have these stories, these pain points, these like fires in our belly. And sometimes we ignore them. Sometimes we don't lean in. Sometimes we don't use that to like accelerate us. And that's the biggest thing. Some people are disadvantaged because they can't identify what that story is. So knowing what I went through in my garage is my defining moment. It's always going to take me back. It's always going to take me back in everything that I do. I still think about it today because I don't want to be that Brian that was that was
freaking amazing. That
was just trying to make something happen and just fall flat on my face. And now the difference is I'm a family of 4. I'm a family of 4. It's not just Lauren and I. Like, there's no way I can't afford it. So we have to lean into that pain. In fact, there's a photo I have on my desk that just reminds me of it every day. So
love it, man. Yeah. So how quickly did you get to 50 transactions? Because here's what I look at, BD, man. There's 2 people watching this, two individuals watching this right now. The individual, or 3, someone who's on a team, and like, how the hell is he earning what he's earning on the team right now and selling that much? Number 2, the individual agent that's looking at how can I take what Brian has done and scale this in my own business? And number 3 is the leader that's right now watching this going, how can I create more Brian Danneys on my team? So I want to talk to all 3 of those. So let's go first. Like, how quickly did you get to 50 units, 50 sales?
Yeah. So it took about 2.5, 3 years to finally reach the 50 threshold. It didn't happen overnight. That's the biggest mistake most make, is they think it's just going to happen overnight. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. And I'll just get right into it. Like,
tell us how, tell us what you, how you did it.
I'm very structured. I learned this through the best minds that I surround myself with, including Dan. I need structure. So it all started first with giving myself a measurable. I'm not leaving the freaking office in the morning. This happened the first couple months until I get 20 conversations. I won't do it. I cannot leave. And I was there late at night. Sometimes I got too late and okay, fine. Then I maybe tweaked it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to a restaurant or Carl Strauss, which is a brewery down the street. I'm going to get my last conversation. I'm going to do whatever I can to get the 20 conversations a day. So I would not be satisfied if I didn't get that. And I just built off of that mindset that there's no way, it's impossible not to get that conversation. And from there, it just grew into something more where now I'm time blocking. And time blocking is huge. Like, The one thing I'll tell you, Bill, that is the same person I was when I started to the same person 9 years later, 10 years later today, is structure with my calendar. It's doing the same shit every single day and getting bored with it, because I have a routine that's going to work. And what I know is boredom leads to mastery, and I'm trying to master my calendar. I'm trying to make sure that I am prospecting when I need to. I don't compromise that stuff. I don't run towards the shiny objects. Most people run to shiny objects.
Yeah.
They have prospecting at 9 in the morning, and then they get a big lead that comes in, and then guess what happens? They're prospecting. They're off showing a house. And then they're not doing the basic stuff that they need to do to build their business. There's no way that buyer, that seller won't meet with you at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Your morning is everything.
They get the deal, but what they lose is the consistency in the business.
What happens? Great. Yeah, you'll get the deal. And then, you're back to square one.
Totally.
And you have no consistency there. And you train your mind that it's okay to make these one-offs. I want to get out of that place. I really do.
You started and said, it's interesting. I had Rod Moser on, right? Just earlier this week. He put, you'll appreciate this, beads in his pocket, 20 beads in his pocket. He had to move them right to the left pocket, right? Every single day when he first got in the business. So when you guys,
I love that.
Success leaves clues. Pay attention. Yeah. When you have one person that does it and they achieve success, probably want to pay attention. 2, 3 people that are doing this, and now 5, 10, 15, that commitment to being on, it's a commitment, right? BD. And a commitment it's a non-negotiable. It isn't a good idea. It isn't whatever. That commitment to prospect was at the core. Then number 2, you said, I'm going to manage my time effectively. Look, dude, selling 97 homes, selling 50 homes, selling 20 homes. How do you manage that? Like, what is your process you go through to say, I'm going to manage, I'm going to create, I'm going to freaking follow this for my day. I'm going to time block it. What's the process?
Yeah. So, it's the same thing every morning. I start with a workout. That's the thing that just pushes me every day. And then I actually, one of the hardest things for me to do is read. I just get too tired in the day. So guess what I do? I make it one of the first things I do in the morning. So I read, I journal. I have an opportunity to internalize where I want the day to go. Something I found was my mind was escaping to negativity about a couple years ago. I'm like, oh, now this. And I was getting into a place I didn't want to be. So I started implementing places to focus on gratitude, things that I'm thankful for. And I did that a couple of years ago. Every morning I wake up, I have 3 different things. It's different every single day. It forces me to think outside the box, and I'm more subconscious of thinking positive. So I do that every morning.
Brilliant.
You know what? It's silly. I put in when I shower, when I have 20 minutes with the kids, when I'm eating breakfast. It's all in my calendar to the T. I detail it. My drive time to the office when I'm here. And it starts with my video power hours, what I call it. I've been doing the same thing. It's evolved over the course of the last 10 years, but I do a video power hour now. That's where I spend most of my time. And then I jump into
what is video power hour? What is that?
So I've been a big believer that prospecting phone is huge, 100%. And I do a lot of that. And you'll see that segmented in other parts of my day, but I spend my morning doing my videos. So my videos first of all, I just jump on Facebook and I send a quick happy birthday video to anybody in my database every morning.
Love that. Okay.
And I do that every morning. You'll get that from me every morning. And then I jump right into my SOI. I pick 5 people that I want to send a video to. Then I jump into the people that I've closed lost. And right now, we talked about easy CMAs in
velocity.
Sales velocity. And I've just right when I saw the market shifting, I just started doing easy CMAs. The buyers letting them know, hey, guess what? It's been painful for the last several years. And now San Diego County, we have 2,400, now 3,000 homes that have been in the market for 14 days or more. It's there's buyer opportunity for you. So I get them excited about all these options. I get a lot of people rebooked in a strategy session with me, just figuring out how to get back on the counter, back on track, because there's opportunity. I'm
So you take that hour and you're shooting videos
every day,
personalized video. So it isn't like power hour to shoot video content. It's a power hour to go, happy birthday. Hey, by the way, like sphere of influence, past clients, leads. Oh man.
There's one more too. That's
never heard that.
Yeah. There's one more that I found was so instrumental during COVID, which was, it was actually sending videos to agents. I want to be an agent's agent. I figured when there's no inventory, and still it's relevant today, regardless of what market shift we're in, is I send videos saying, hey, Joe, it was awesome doing that deal with you on 123 Main Street. Like, dude, I loved working with you. And I got to find a better way to collaborate with you more often. What do you have going on? Here's what I have going on. And I send the video to people that I close deals with. The reason why
brilliant, dude.
But you know what works with that, Bill, is like when I reach out to Joe, and then I do the same video to Susie, and then Susie, oh, I have somebody that's looking for this, and I know Joe has it. I'm now this guy that's connected between all of them. So when everybody has something coming soon, or I'm the resource because I've just connected everybody. So but honestly, I want to pay it forward. That's why I do it. I know it's going to all come back. So
and if you're competing in a competitive offer situation, it happens to be one of the agents that you've done it with, we cannot deny you're gonna get preferential treatment in most cases, you know, because they want to work with you, right? So God, I love that, man. I'm actually gonna rip that off and duplicate it. It's gonna be something I will give you full credit, but I will be teaching that because that is the look. Phone prospecting, let's be very clear, still important, still a necessity. Video reach outs to be able to do this, that's bananas good, right?
The sincerity, I noticed what type of shift it was making COVID. How you doing? You know, just being a human being, like, is everything okay? I'm thinking of you. And it just that's why I was fortunately so successful during COVID, was because I didn't have an agenda. I was sincerely just reaching out to people to make sure their family was good, everyone was okay. But it just evolved into something that I just saw so incredibly powerful I'm literally, and I send it Messenger. I just send it through my text message. Yeah. Sometimes I'll send it through another alternative site that my assistant helps me with, but it's Messenger. It's really easy.
Just Facebook Messenger or text message or whatever. I love that, man. So if we look at getting to 50, it's going to require you doing 20 conversations a day, come hell or high water. I mean, you can't escape that, like 10, 20 conversations. B, you have to time block, run your day effectively, run it through a schedule. 3, what have you done? You know me. I'm all about flipping skills, right? Skills, discipline, strategy, right? So did you, Dan, the other individuals on the team there, as you guys were fledgling and coming forward and getting to 50, was skills a part of like your success, or did you just learn like as you went?
Such an amazing segue into it. Yeah. Like I shadow Dan, he records things. He invites me to conversations he's having. I read, I just told you, it's make it part of my morning. I read constantly. The biggest thing for me is I've been role playing for 9 years and I haven't stopped. And just because I've been selling where I have doesn't mean I turn that off. I need to figure out what objections the other agents are having. I need to sharpen my tool set. I need to be the sharpest person there. I need to push myself. And role playing is so huge, especially as the market can listen. If you don't like change, you're in the wrong industry, because that's all we're in, and you just need to embrace it. And there's no better way to practice. And I'd rather practice amongst my peers first, so then I can just be as sharp as I possibly can and be authoritative and be enthusiastic on that call when I'm in real life person. So it matters. It really does. So role play is a massive part of that.
So refreshing to hear you say that. How long have you been in the business now?
I've been in the business, if you include commercial, I've been in the business 15 years now.
15 years. It's so refreshing, bro, to hear a 15-year veteran that says, I'm still doing this, right? Like I'm still Barry Bonds. I met Barry Bonds' dad, got a chance to talk to him. I said, is Barry still practicing? He goes, yeah, but he's just keeping his axe sharp, is what he said. You know what I mean? And as new things come out. So you're like, I love this, because people think the hallucination is, I'm going to get to a point where I don't need to do some of these fundamentals, where I can begin to pull back, where I don't need to have prospecting be a part of my business, skills be a part of my business, time blocking and scheduling be a part of my business. But what you're telling me is just as important today as it was when you started. And that was really important as a critical part of your foundation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'll see it in my calendar every morning. It has sacred. And everybody knows my assistant, the ISA, is if I was fortunate enough to get an appointment booked for me, whatever that is, you can't touch that thing. Like that thing has not moved.
Yes.
I don't feel good when I miss it. I missed a few because of vacation, but I try to tap in as much as I possibly can, because that's the thing that moves the needle in the business. That also keeps me current.
Yeah.
I hear the objections everybody's hearing.
I love it, man. Any particular skill or any skill in particular that you would look at in that 0 to 50, that an agent really, or skills plural, that they absolutely need to master?
Being coachable.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that, please.
Yeah. If you think that consistency is going to get you there, but you're not going to embrace feedback and figure out how to like take failures and turn it into success, there's no way you're going to get to 50, in my opinion. And like, here's an example. You know that I enjoy hiking. I enjoy, so I was in Baker.
By the way, guys, he doesn't just enjoy hiking. He's like 7 days away from climbing Mount Rainier, right? Like one of the highest peaks in all of the continental United States. So it isn't just an enjoy. He's a badass hiker. Okay. So go ahead. I'm trying to convince him to go to Ecuador with me. You're going to Ecuador with me, bro. So go ahead.
So I was on Baker, which is another mountain in Seattle. That was my first expedition and first time doing it. And you're dealing with this terrain and all the crevasses and like literally, if you don't jump over something, if you don't do a rest step, if you don't do something that's going to like make sure that you are staying focused and you're listening to the guide, you're toast. And that was more evident than ever, where I'm like, oh my God, like now I'm dealing with life, death experience here. You have to be coachable. I know I'm taking it back to that spot, but like, if I didn't do what he said and I was just like, no, I'm walking the right way, I would have fallen to the bottom of the earth.
Yeah.
And the same goes with business. You have to, I mean, yes, you're walking the straight line. You're leaning into the relationships you have. You're leaning into the structure. You're doing everything. You're building the structure for yourself, but you have to improve, right? You can't get complacent, and you have to figure out how to do things better. And sometimes it's productivity. Sometimes it's a script. Sometimes it's leaning into a different resource and catching it. You have to be coachable. I think that's the biggest piece for me that does take you from 0 to 50.
How do you define coachability? How would you define that? Because we hear that word so much.
Ego outside the door.
Beautiful.
You leave your ego outside. That's it.
You guys heard that? That's coming from someone that sells 100 million as an individual agent on a team. Like take the ego, put it aside. Like you could have every reason in the world to go, I'm a badass, man. I got this, etc. But you are one of the most humble people that I've met. And I have the privilege of actually coaching Brian on a couple of different levels. So awesome, bro. Okay, let's pivot, because I want to take some time, and now I want to talk 50 to 100. Obviously, it's one game from 0 to 50, right? Skill, discipline, like certain processes and strategies. 50 to 100, like how long did it take you? You said it took you 2.5 years, almost 3 years to get to 50. How long to go from 50 to 100?
I'm fortunate it happened quick, maybe within a year and a half. So even
no joke.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. So it all happened when I realized that I have leverage. I create leverage. So let me actually take you back one sec. In the first 0 to 50, we talk about time versus money. Money was a key component. I was bankrupt. I needed to get myself on good footing. I needed to catch my breath. I needed to get back there. And then once I hit a certain threshold, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need some time back. I'm a family of 4. I want to go to Dylan's hockey games and baseball games. I want to coach for him. Like I need some family time. Noah, I want to spend some time with her. And there was no way I can get there without trusting a system that's being built and allowing other people to help with leverage. And we found ways of leverage through showing partners, operations, inside sales. I mean, for the month of July, I was in San Diego 3 days and I sold 14 homes because of leverage. So, like it's a really big piece that allows you to go. Most agents, most people, they micromanage. Most people that are building teams, they micromanage, they get in their own way and they don't trust people. And I was guilty of it at first, but then I understood what I needed to do in order to get the things moving in the right direction.
So check it out, Brian. But Brian, I can do it better myself. Like why? I'll just, it's going to take me forever. I'll just take it from my assistant, and I'll just finish this one myself. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, if
did you have that ever in your head, or were you just like, did you trust?
No, absolutely. I'm human. Of course I did. I can do it better. Why are they doing it this way? But guess what? It's called communication for a reason. You just, and the people surrounded by you also have to be coachable too, right? They have to learn, they have to understand where to meet you where you're at in order to get this thing. It's an artistry, it's a relationship, and it's a lot of give and take. And you just have to make sure you have the right people in the right seat in order to get there.
Great.
That's a big piece. Culture, core values, that's all 0 to 100. That's something I lean heavy into, that I learned from Dan and Laura on our team that we built. And listen, we've had the wrong people in the wrong seat along the way, but they self-select out. They aren't a fit. And when we have the right people, that's when we're running on all cylinders. And that's really what it is. I
love it. So 50 to 100 is all scale and growth and learning to work effectively with human beings who are on your team in one way, shape, facet, form, or another. What was your process of being able to migrate over from I do this all myself now to I'm letting go, and oh, by the way, I'm in San Diego for 3 days and sell 14 homes.
Yeah.
Right? Or no, 3 days and sell whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was the
14. Yeah.
So how do you give us here's the 2-3 step process? Because it's obviously we're going to turn it over, but they're going to screw up. And how do you deal with that? And then that whole piece of where people are so prone at that point to go, they just messed up. I'll just do this. Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I eliminated the why from a lot of my conversation. It's just a place of judgment. It doesn't help people get to places that they need to. And I unfortunately started a lot of my conversations with why, specifically with an assistant. Guess what? Those relationships didn't last. I learned through my own failures. That's why it's so important. And I understood how to lead better and also not micromanage. And I had conversations with myself. And I had to go through some growing pains of what didn't work, why didn't, okay, I now understand why. It was also the way I was approaching people. Communication's so big.
What have you learned? What have you learned?
Well, here's what I've learned. I was about to get to that. So the biggest thing that I've learned is Kiwana, my assistant, it's our business. It's my showing partner. It's my partner in operations. We're all in this together. We're all partners together. It's not just my business. They're part of something bigger, right? And I lean into the live big, win together mentality.
Ooh, I love that.
And that's just where that's my motto, with the way I try to approach everything with every conversation. Inside sales books me an appointment. They're my partner. And I make sure I keep them in the know of what's happening and what's happening that lead, because they deserve it because they were my partner in making sure that we secure that appointment, that opportunity.
How do you see, because language creates reality, right? Like it just does. You say, hey, we live big, we win together. I, by the way, love that. That's going up on my family's chalkboard that we have at our door. No, I'll post it and show it to you. How do you feel that they're a partner? How does that change their experience and your experience of them and you guys working together?
Yeah, well, one, it gives them a voice, right? It gives them a voice. It gives them a place where they're not going to be judged for giving me, I want feedback all the time. I want feedback on how I can do better. And they see me do that, then they're going to be open to that as well. And secondly, it's they're in part of big decisions. Like Kiwana and I, we do our annual planning together. We make sure she sees the bigger picture, what we're really striving for. It's not there aren't. Here's the thing, and even this, I learned this from Dan and Laura because this is what they do on the team. There is no curtain closed. Like everything is transparent, everything's out there. And that's the biggest mistake most people make. And that's also why there's a lot of issues with people leaving teams and they feel very much in the dark. They don't know what's going on. I know exactly where the marketing spend is on the team. And because I learned that, I understand where salaries are. I understand where we're budgeting everything in our business. It's all out in the open. In fact, we have a state of the company where Dan goes
out in the open for everyone on
the team. Absolutely everybody on the team. Why should I be any different? And I learn all this through my own experience. So there's nothing like, we're in this together, open book. Here's where it's at. How do we get here? By the way, what are your goals for the next 3 to 5 years? Because I want to make sure I match that. I have to listen, right? I have to make sure that I'm getting her to someplace that she wants to get to. We did an elevate and delegate recently. And I uncovered things that Kiwana.
What is elevate? For those of people that don't know, what is elevate?
So it's quadrant. It's like things I'm really good at that I love to do, things that I'm good at that I like to do, things that I'm good at that I don't like to do, and things I don't like to do, I don't want to do it again. And you fill it all in.
Nice.
So I did it with Kiwana, and we uncovered that she really doesn't like to do some things, and she's really good at some other stuff. Well, guess what? I'm going to create leverage for her. So now we're going to have somebody else that she's going to be managing that's going to allow her to get some lift. And that's just the way it works. I have to invest all around me with time, with information. You know, it's
the greatest investment, with trust, to be able to let them have to create a space where there is a voice that is a partner, language, reality, the 100%. Way that you actually approach it. Freaking beautiful. Yeah. Let's go one more thing and then we're going to jam. Okay. All right. Because I love to keep these 30 to 40 minutes because everyone's got busy lives, right? Time block. So, you already touched on this a little bit. And I think this is a really important thing for all of our great leaders to hear that run teams. You've been on Dan's team for 14 years. For all intents and purposes, you had
10 years. Yeah.
9, 10 years. I'm getting the why is 14 in my head?
Because of the commercial.
The commercial. Yeah. Like 14.
He corrects me all the time. He's like, no, it's not 11 years. So
you've been with Dan for 9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. Most team leaders are so afraid of a great agent having the level of success that you've had on this team and then leaving. Right. What would you say to those team leads? You already said one thing, which was the transparency. I hope everyone heard that. Like, transparency is key to be able to actually make sure that your top producers stay. As a top producer on a team, right? What do leaders need to do, coming from you, to make sure that they extend the longevity of the relationship?
This is a long one. I'll try to keep it short, but I can go on and on. If we had another hour, I can
take as much time.
The transparency is one of the key components, because that's how you build trust, right? Yep. So, like, just being completely open book. I can tell you that there's been times where things got a little hairy. Things were tough. And a lot of it was related to people being in the wrong seats that shouldn't have been there, that actually were creating a lot of noise. And culture is a big piece of that, and making sure you embrace that. You're not going to sacrifice that. Culture is so big. You have to make sure the right people are here, because that is such a distraction for most. And you have to live by that. And you have to, if somebody isn't, then you have to make sure you're going to remove them, because that can be really impactful. Here's the other piece is, I've never been failed. I mean, whenever like I said, a couple of years ago, I don't want to say I ran a heavy negativity, but I was like, oh, what about this? What about that? And like, I wasn't thinking from like a mindset of abundance, which is human, right? Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
I'm going to be open and vulnerable here. I'm going to let you know that happens. But when I went back, I'm like, holy shit, I've never been failed. I can't prove them wrong. I've never been left like leadless, homeless without a lead. Like I've never been guided the wrong way.
The team, when you say never been failed, the team and leadership never failed me.
Has never failed me. And it's by no coincidence that I just want to emulate that leadership because of what I see and how good it is. It forces me to be a better human being, personally, professionally. It's a massive takeaway for me. In addition, there's other things.
I love this transparency. Make sure you got the right people. If they're not the right people and the right people in the right seats, right? Because you could have Tom Brady running as a running back and he's not Tom Brady. You know what I mean? So remove the wrong, because I love learning from you. I love learning from everyone I get a chance to interview. I think that's the other thing. You and I are always like, we're learning from Dan, from John, from each other, from the other coaches, from Vic, from Lindsay, from Danney, from Justin, from Veronica, from, Lori, the list goes on and on of all the amazing individuals that are inside this ecosystem. But never fail your team. That is so huge. Can they look back and say, leaders, can they look back and say what Brian said about Dan and the organization, which is, I've never been failed.
Yeah.
Right. I love it, man. Amazing.
I have a couple other nuggets. I mean, like, honestly, there was a sales meeting we had about 2 months ago, and Dan was focusing on marketing. And rather than Dan making the decision on the marketing, he went around and asked everybody's opinion because he made them feel like they're a partner in this.
Yeah.
Guess what? Well, guess where I grabbed my role in making sure people feel partners? Through the leadership side, right? So the visionary here. So that was that. Everybody has a voice. Everyone's open. Everyone has a place to vent. Everybody has a place to add more creativity. Everybody has an opportunity here to make sure they can make an impact and a dent into this business. Good. And it's super open for that. The training
for safety. People have significance and they have certainty. So they have this freedom to speak up.
Yeah. And the accountability. I mean, Dan's always like the leverage is a piece. And I'm talking about actually, he's never stunted my growth. It's always, what can we do for you to get more? How do we grow this thing? And that was, I don't know, like 7 years ago with Showing Partners. It was like that stemmed from Dan. I actually fought it openly. I was like, oh, great, commission going here and here. I'm like, oh my God, this really works. And then
I'll just do it myself. I can do it easier, right? You went through the same
100%.
BD, what I love, bro, is I absolutely love that conversation of how can we get you from here to here that Dan had with you, right? Is the same conversation you're having with your assistant and a partner,
Kiwana.
I'm like, hey, how do we get them to here? So your teams are going to emulate, and your team members will emulate what they see and who it is that you're being. Yeah. Dude, this is so chocked full of great information, whether it is the solo agent, the team member, the team lead. Like, I've got 3 pages of notes, and I'm so grateful for all of this. And just to even get to know you, Brian, and as long as, I'm in still new relationship this year. So to get to know just the background, the history, and just have you pour into everyone is truly a gift and a blessing. So brother, I thank you. Any last words of wisdom you would like to give those accelerators who are accelerating?
Yeah, no, I mean, lean in, be coachable. It's kind of a theme I mentioned today, and you got it. Structure is huge. You just got to look where to find it. You got to lean into those resources around you, surround yourself with those people. But there's a lot there, and I'm super blessed for the journey I've had. And I appreciate you, Bill. I'm here and excited for any opportunity, any conversation I can have with any of you. I just, I'm all about contribution. So thank you.
And your Instagram is at Brian Evan
Danney. Yeah.
Danney.
Yeah. I'm a man of 3 first names. So Brian Evan Danney.
Brian, Evan, Danney.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Brian, BD, thank you. For all of you that are watching, if there's anything that we can do to support you, to assist you, you know that we're here as an entire organization and as individuals. So please feel free to reach out should you have any questions to Brian or anyone on our team to be able to support you and make sure that your growth is constantly accelerating. Look forward to seeing you on the next interview, right? Or talking to you soon at the next event. Bye-bye. Thanks again, BD. Take care.
Thank you, guys.